Well, hey, Contrast Church, and anyone who's been following along with us or cheering us on from afar over the last 3 to 4 years. For those of you who maybe didn't know, Contrast Church is a church plant in the Grandview area of Columbus. And we started right in the middle of COVID, and that was, as you can imagine, difficult. We had to be very creative with how we met, whether it was at a park, on Zoom, in homes, and we were just praying for a space to be able to call our own. And a little over a year and a half ago, the Lord blessed us with this awesome space to lease right here. And to be honest, it's just been home for us. We've been able to, I feel like we built it as a team, whether it was being here till 10 p.m., putting up sound panels or painting walls or hanging shelves. It's just been home for us. And we've seen miraculous life change. People come to know Jesus for the first time, people being baptized, people taking really serious next steps with their spiritual formation. And not only even just our church, but as a community, it's been a light. People have been able to have events here, and ministry organizations have been here, and it's just been really sweet. And over the past year and a half, we've been praying, okay, we want to be content with what we have and faithful, but what is the Lord having for us next? And in the midst of those prayers, the answering has been what we call, a good problem to have, and that is simply the fact that there's just not enough room in this place. Believe it or not, 2,900 square feet is not a lot of space, especially as you're growing and we're having more young families, and those families are bringing their kids. We're putting those kids in these tiny rooms, but we want to have really good kids ministry and be able to invite our neighbors and our friends. And so it's put us in this spot where we're having to navigate, prayerfully consider what is next for us as a church. Adding on top of all of that, the last month has been really important for us as a church because we are officially self-sustaining. Hypothetically, we're not a church plant anymore. We are on our own dime. When we started, Movement in Three Creeks Church helped sponsor us. They gave some of their funds to us for the couple years that we got started, and now we are fully on our own, able to be like a full adult church. And so as we navigate that and our expenses and figuring out what's next, it's led to lots of different conversations. And what is next for us? Is it a ton more services in this small place, which is not ideal for us, nor the culture we necessarily want to create as a volunteer base and as a community? Is it renting a bigger space, taking on a deeper, probably financial burden monthly, one that might be difficult to handle as a church, or having to expect to grow into it? And it kind of culminated in all of those conversations around the idea of what if we just tried to look at buying a space in this area, which is kind of ridiculous, requires a lot of capital, but to be honest, obviously a good long-term play, but for us as a new church who just became self-sustaining, it's kind of a crazy idea. But through lots of prayer and conversations and even relationships that were really just clearly God orchestrated, we got to the point where we realized, man, I think we could buy a property, and I think we should. And in fact, that very property is right across the street, right here on King Avenue, which is very convenient. And we've been navigating how we can acquire this building. We have a good relationship with the owner. And so for us, as we talk about this and you've heard it, okay, what's the ask? And so for us to be able to secure a building like this, we have to come up with a pretty decent, quarter of a chunk of the loan down payment. And for us, we don't have the budget for that. And so we're trying to raise $400,000 for the down payment for a space like this, for permanent gospel roots in this community. And fortunately, we've been working through this over the last few months, and we're already about 40%, if not a little bit more, on our way there. And so we're asking you to prayerfully consider with our church, the public, anybody you might know, to consider pledging above and beyond your normal giving for the end of this year to this campaign fund, to be able to reach $400,000 to secure a space for us. And so on July 16th, we're gonna ask everyone to put their pledges in and hope to reach this number. And by the end of 2023, we will be able to reach $400,000 so that we can set a deep gospel presence here as a church, because we don't want to go anywhere, and we feel like we can be here till Jesus comes back. So we want to, and we know it's good for us, and the tripling of our space would be awesome. So we ask you'll prayerfully consider that. And regardless of all that, regardless of this space, we know God's here. We know God's in Grandview, and we just want to be a part of what He's doing. And for those of you who've been cheering us on, praying for us, who have even given financially at the beginning of this, the inception of our church, thank you. We're grateful, and so we're hopeful for one last effort and push as a bigger community to help make this happen for us and be able to set down permanent roots as a church.